Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Blessings to you all. I pray this day has met you with so much joy. Blessings to you, Robin. Hello. Blessings, Aunt Terry. How you doing? Blessings to you. Look, it's already starting. I tell you, it's already starting. Everything trying to do stuff. But look, we bless God. We bless God for this day. Look here, y'all. If you have not already, all right, if you have not already, go ahead, hit that like button before we go any further. Hit the like button and then go ahead and say something because we got to break up this algorithm. We got to push us out there a little bit more. And also, it'll help you with your For You page so you're not seeing random crazy stuff. You can train your For You page for what you want to see. All right. And so let's go ahead. And if you have not already, go ahead and subscribe. If you are on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And when you hit that subscribe button, you're going to find that little notification bell. You're going to hit that notification bell and you're going to pick the one that has the little parentheses on either side of it. That means you get all live notifications. If you are following on Twitter or formerly known as Twitter X now, or, Facebook, if you are on Instagram, which, y'all supposed to remind me about Instagram. Okay, now we live on Instagram. Okay, now, if you are following, if you have not followed on Instagram already, go ahead and hit that button so you can be subscribed, so you can follow us. And once you follow us, you got to turn on your notifications so you get all live notifications. You don't want to miss anything that we are doing. Also, Remnant Mentality is more than just us going live because yes, we go live every day. Somebody's going to come on here. They're going to give you this word just the way that you need it. All right. However your boat needs to be floated, they're going to give it to you just like that. All right. And you'll find somebody for you. They'll tell you what day they come on. They'll tell you what time they come on. And you don't want to miss what it is that is going on. I'm on here on Sundays between 2:33. I hit that go live button and I'm right here with you. So if it's something that you want to do and you don't want to miss anything that we're doing, because we have Bible study, we have prayer, we have fast throughout the year, getting ready to come up on another one in July. You don't want to miss what it is that we're doing, then I need you to text the word connect because I know y'all got a phone. I see homeless people with cell phones, so I know good and doggone well you got a phone. You gonna hit the little, like you gonna send a text message and you gonna send a text message. All right. 2-346-229-0322. The word connect is all you're gonna put in there. That's it. The word connect. Text the word connect to 346-229-0322. And that is going to get you in the loop. All right. You're just going to be put into the thing. And once you get it, you're going to have to hit that hyperlink that comes in. And the hyperlink is going to ask you for your name and your email address. Once you put that in, it's going to give you another series of texts. And that one of those series of texts is going to ask you, what do you want to be notified of? Like I said, there's prayer, there's Bible study 2 nights a week. There is the fast that come up, and then there are the lives. So whatever it is that you want to be notified of, don't worry about it. We got it. It's going to get you, and you put it in there. All right. Because there's a number that coincides with each thing that you want to be contacted of. If you want to be just contacted for one specific thing, then there's a number for it. If you want to be contacted for anything that we have going on, you hit 5 and send, and that's it. You're in one of the lists. You're in one of the lists. If you don't ever get any notifications, don't blame us. It's because you didn't get onto a list. You have to get onto a list, which means you have to text back one of the numbers. Like I said, 5 will get you on the list for everything that we have going on. All right. So now let's get into this word for today. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And I'm not just talking about the fathers who are biologically fathers, but I'm talking about those who have stepped in, those who have endured the process, those that may not have had the example, but they said, I'm going to do something that I've never seen before. I'm going to do something that's going to make a difference. I'm going to be what I didn't see, what I thought I needed. I'm going to be that for the world. So I just want to applaud you all. Happy Father's Day. All right. Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there who stepped up in one way or another. Blessings to you, Minister Marie. How are you doing? Blessings, blessings, blessings. Now look here. I told you we are in this series where it was just pressed upon me to look at this letter that Paul wrote to Timothy. He wrote 2 letters to Timothy that we know about because those are the 2 that are in there. Now, this is considered one of the last ones that he wrote while he was in prison before he was executed. And he was writing to Timothy. It was pressing him to make sure that he wrote to Timothy if he didn't write to anybody else. And this is why I thought that whatever it is that Paul had to say had to be important enough for us to just study some of the highlights of these letters and us bring those out in like a 6-week study. This is week 2. And it just so happens that Paul, as he addresses Timothy, all right, he always addresses him as my son in the faith. He calls him his son. He makes sure that he directs everything to him like this. One of the things that Paul did, and he did it so well, was that he was always making sure that they understood everywhere he wrote to, because as he wrote to the church of Corinth in 1 Corinthians, if you go with me to 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 15 and 16, he was writing to them because he says, look here, in an age where you have so many people giving you so much information, you got a lot of information coming at you at the church of Corinth. The church at Corinth had a lot of people because it was at a major port. And so in this major port, people were coming from all over. You had all kinds of teachers of all kinds of stuff. Teachers who said that they were people of the way, which is what they called the people before Antioch, because that's when they first started calling them Christians or Christians, or those that are trying to be Christ-like, as a negative connotation. But nevertheless, before we were known as that, they were trying to market themselves as people of the way, because that's just what they call them, people of the way of Jesus Christ. And so here it is. He's saying you have all these people that are coming to you. They're marketing themselves like they come in the name of Jesus, but they don't. They have another type of doctrine. And so they're always constantly giving you instruction. They're constantly trying to tell you what to do. And so Paul makes a statement that I think is really important and something that we definitely have to look at. So let's look at it here in 1 Corinthians. If you turn over there, 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 15 and 16, it says, for though you have 10,000 instructors in Christ, yet have you not many fathers. For in Jesus Christ, I have begotten you through the gospel. Wherefore I beseech you, be ye followers of me. So Paul wasn't telling them to merely just follow me, blindly follow me, but he's telling them that you have 10,000 instructors in Christ. You got people that can tell you all kinds of stuff, because that's one of the things that separates someone from being a father and somebody being a teacher. Paul thought it, let me explain to you, there's a difference between somebody who is instructing you, somebody who constantly gives you different things. All right. They give you principles. They give you all kinds of things. All right. They teach well. They give all these things. They give instruction, information, and not necessarily they have any personal stake in it, because they can't teach you how to walk in it. Now, there are those who are fathers. And so this is why he says you need some fathers in your life. And so God has sent me to be a father, because fathers do more than just instruct you, but they show you the way. They go beyond teaching. They take responsibility for you spiritually, take that spiritually, they take you underneath their wing spiritually. So they're trying to impart a spiritual DNA into you, because they're not just instructing you on how to do things, but they set a standard. So you can look at their life and you can see that their life is setting a standard in Christ Jesus. So that's why he says, follow me, because as I follow Christ, he wants you to follow him as he follows Christ. Not just barely follow me, but follow me as I follow Christ. Meaning, if I get out of alignment, you can get out. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to follow me, but follow me as I follow Christ. But the meanwhile, your eyes should be set on Christ Jesus. And so a father will not only instruct you in the right way to go, but a father will come in and actually walk that thing out for you. He will impart in you what is needed in order for you to succeed in life. He doesn't want to just give you a gift, because a father doesn't just give you a gift, but he shows you how to make something. So it's like giving somebody, since Jesus was a carpenter, it's like making a chair. Your father can make you this ridiculous chair. It is magnificent. It is so good. It's so nice. And it can last a lifetime. But if he never taught you how to make the chair, then the gift will still be there. But the instruction on how to live or how to do it or how to replicate it for generations to come will not be there. The gift of how to put this in somebody for them to redo it again and again is not there. One of the main things that a father can do is show them, not just gift them, because it's easy to buy a gift. Here you go. But to impart your knowledge, to impart the wisdom of how to do something, so that you not only have it for yourself, but you have it for generations to come, and to teach them as it goes down. Rather you have a male or female child, you're imparting in them something that they can take with them. True fathers don't just come along and give you rule after rule after rule, but they know that they're going to walk through you with you through all your failures. They're going to walk with you through any and everything that you pass through, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. They're always going to stand with you. They're going to tell you, okay, yeah, you possibly could have done that differently. Oh, yeah, you know what? I understand. But you know what? From now on, let's go this way. It's never too late. And let me caveat this by letting you understand that there are some people who did not have the father. Yeah, they didn't grow up with the example of the father. And so they find themselves in this conundrum, like, I don't know how to be something that I've never seen. And this is where they have to tap in to Jesus Christ. They have to tap into God. If you don't tap into God, his spirit cannot lead and guide you in what you don't know. And what you have to be or what you should be. So there's nothing for you to mimic, right? And some of us mimic and don't know why we mimic. Oh, I know that in order to be a man, I have to have a riding lawnmower. I gotta be able to do this. I gotta be able to do that. There are certain signs that you'll see that, okay, they got the premise of what it means to be a man, but they never picked up the balance of what it means to just be a father. I know how to pay bills because I saw my father pay bills. I know how to do this because I saw my father do that. So they pick up certain premises, but they don't pick up the pattern of what it takes to be a father. And so the father imparts. Make sure that they give you something that you are able to perpetuate for generations to come. And so with that being said, Paul made it clear that there are going to be a lot of people that can instruct you, can teach you very well. They can teach you very well, but they're not able to demonstrate and put in you what is next. Hey there, Trees, how you doing? They're not able to put into you what is next. They're not able to begin to speak over you. One of the things that Paul does so well for Timothy, and I had wrote down some of these phrases, and I told y'all this before. He repeats these phrases to Timothy, and I thought it was such a blessing because this is what fathers do. It says, he tells him all the time, he says, his own son in the faith, his dearly beloved son. He calls him a man of God, a servant entrusted with the gospel. He makes it very plain and very clear that leaders, they can teach, but they can't model. He makes it very clear that fathers give you your identity, which leads us to the first of our scriptures here. So turn over with me to First Timothy chapter 1. First Timothy chapter 1. First Timothy chapter 1, verse 2. He says, unto Timothy, my son in the faith, grace, mercy, and peace from God our Father and Jesus Christ our Lord. The first thing fathers do is give you identity. He opens the letter by giving him his identity. I know it's real easy for us to get to this place where we don't always understand what to do or even how to do it. But the first thing that you want to impart in somebody that's coming behind you, because what we're talking about in this particular week is fight for what comes after you. You know, fight for what comes after you. That's what a father does. A father fights for what comes after him. He understands and he knows that my children have to survive. So if I was to die today, would they be able to survive on their own? Would they be able to pick up this mantle? It's like running a relay race. I used to run the 4x2, the 4x1. And I tell you, we had marks on the track. So once you see somebody hit the mark, because you're looking behind you, you know, for the person that's coming with the baton, once they hit that mark, you take off running, right? As you take off running, they got to come in. They got to, you know, hawk you down and try to catch you. And then as soon as you hear them say stick, your hand goes out. You supposed to practice, you know? And so the one who's carrying the baton is very, very important, because as soon as they get to the point where they're close enough to hand it off and securely hand it off and don't let go of it until you know that they got it, right? Because there has to be communication. Stick, hand goes back. Your hand goes forward and you put it in the hand of the person that is getting ready to run after you. That means you got to keep a pace. You're tired, but I got to keep this pace because I got to give them the ability to run faster after I hand it to them. And I have to not let go until I know they have grasped it fully. But you got to know when to let go of the baton. And so when they let go of the baton, the other person can now hit their full stride. They take off a little bit in the beginning because they know that person probably going to be tired. They got to hawk me down. Yes, let's go. And then they hear in the back, stick. It gives the offspring the ability to understand that, look, I got to learn this thing for myself. I have to learn this thing because I'm going to have to pass this stick one day to somebody. And I've got to know the intricacies of what it took for it to come down from my father down to me. It's a race. And so the baton has been handed off. And what happens in this baton handoff can make all the difference in the world. You watch the Olympics and how one of the races, the female team, and the males, they drop the baton a lot because these people don't run with each other. They run against each other, but they don't run with each other. Now they have to learn how to run in sync, because a lot of the times they don't know exactly who's going to make the team. And by the time they make the team and then come together, they got to hurry up and learn how to hand off and who's going to be first, second, third, fourth. The coach has to fix it some kind of way. And sometimes they have to make substitutions because whoever run the preliminaries don't always run the final. So you have to be able to work with everybody, and everybody has to have the same knowledge, the same understanding. And there was one time when the female team, they ran, I think they broke a record that time, but they were running and somebody accidentally knocked the baton out of Alex Felix's hand. As she knocked the baton out of Alex Felix's hand, you know, it goes down. Now they're disqualified and they're like, oh my God, but Allison Felix, She's like, no, it got knocked out of my hand. Let's go back and watch the tape. It got knocked out of my hand. She protested and she wouldn't let it go until they were looking at some stuff and saw some stuff. So they finally saw where it had been knocked out of her hand. And it wasn't that they dropped it. It had been knocked out of her hand. And so they let them run again. But this time they had no opponents running with them. They had to run based off of a time. But this time all eyes were looking at them because you tried to tell us that the baton was knocked out of your hand. So when it comes to this, you have to make sure that you know when to let it go. And if something like that happens, the technicalities happen. Look here, you can't say I didn't teach you. You can't say I didn't prepare you, because life is going to happen. But you have to be able to fight. And that leads us to our next point. And our next point is coming out of 2 Timothy. It's coming out of 2 Timothy. So if you turn over to 2 Timothy. Oh, goodness. Excuse me, y'all. I'm a little congested. So please forgive me if you hear me sniffling every now and again. So 2 Timothy, chapter 1, starting at verse 2. A father reminds you of what's in you. Okay, he reminds you of what's in you, because when you get ready to go and they hand off the baton to you, they're encouraging you. You better run. You better run. They were running one of their fastest times ever, and you could see it. It's one of the most talked about races, that they have had for the female athletes, that 4x2, that 4x1, whatever the case may be. But Gabby Thompson, she handed it off to Sha'Carri. And when she handed it off to Sha'Carri Richardson, when I tell you, she pumped her up like, you better run, because she had just came from a deficit. TT Terry made up a little bit of the deficit. She handed it off to Gabby Thomas. When she handed it off to her, that girl took off, sprinted out. Hey there, Mother Chambers, blessings to you. When she took off and sprinted out, it's one of the most famous races. If you haven't seen it, you're going to have to look for it. Hey there, Miss Eugenia, blessings to you. And as soon as Gabby handed it to Sha'Carri Richardson, she's telling her, you better run. You better run. The Father reminds you of what's in you. See, there are going to be times when you might not think that you have it all. Now, Sha'Carri Richardson had just came back from a devastating track season the year before, but she came back and she dominated every last single event that she was in. And so she was in this relay where she had to depend on other people and other people had to depend on her. This was her first time running this relay like this in such a world stage like this. Baby, Gabby had to remind her, baby, you hold a record for a reason. You better run. A father reminds you of what's in you. And so as we read this in 2 Timothy chapter 1, starting at verse 2, it says, to Timothy, my dearly beloved son, again, he's making sure you understand who he is. That identity is already in there. All right. It's already in there. He says, grace, mercy, and peace from God the Father and Jesus Christ our Lord. I thank God, whom I serve from my forefathers with pure conscience, that without ceasing I have remembrance of you in my prayers night and day, greatly desiring to see you, being mindful of your tears, that I may be filled with joy. When I call to remembrance the unfeigned faith that is in you, which dwelt first in your grandmother Lois and your mother Eunice, and I am persuaded that is in you also. Wherefore I put you in remembrance that you stir up the gift of God, which is in you by the putting on of my hands. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Now he is reminding Timothy that there is a gift of faith that's in you. There's a difference of you just having faith, but there's a gift of faith that lies on the inside of you. When you have the gift of faith, you can believe for things that people can't even understand and see them come to pass. There's a gift of faith that separates you from the rest. The gift of faith has you believing things and you stand 10 toes on it. Right now, Timothy needed to understand that there was a gift of faith in you. You don't merely just have faith. There's a gift of faith that is in you, and it was passed down to you. Yeah. See, sometimes you have to remind them, you have to remind them of what's in them. You know, that's where a father comes in, and you say these things to your children. You have to remind them who they are and whose they are. Look here, you got to tell them, I'm proud of you. Even if you are a father and you've never said those words to your child, look here, there's no better day than today to do it. If you've never been able to speak blessings over your children, speak it now. If you've never just uttered the words, I'm proud of you, at least one time in their life, they've got to hear it. Because a father's words should not echo in your spirit to condemn you and to remind you of who you aren't. But a father's words should echo in you so much so that it drives you to your next. Because his words remind you of what was put in you. It reminds you of how you can't stop, because stop is not in you. You understand? A father's words echo in you. And if you've never had a father to speak into you, to tell you who you are, it's a good thing that you have God, because he speaks all the time. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that, because he fought for you. So if you've never had the physical understanding of a father speaking into you, giving you words that sustain you in the midst of whatever is going on, God says, I got you. Because the things that I've done, the things that I've spoken will sustain you. The things that I have done will give you the courage to fight. It'll give you the courage to run on past your situation. Let's go ahead. Ooh, come on here. Surround us all according to his word. Thank you, Miss Eugenia. Absolutely. Which brings me to my next point. Back to 1 Timothy chapter 1, verses 18 and 19. A father teaches you what is worth fighting for. He teaches you what's worth fighting for, not just randomly, I'm just going, fight and have this anger. Let's just read and see what it is that Paul said to Timothy, because in verse 18, it says, this charge I commit unto you, son Timothy. Remember, he continuously says that he's his son, drilling it. You have identity. His own father was a Greek. So he was a Gentile, but his mother then were Hebrews. His mother and his grandmother were Hebrews. And so they instilled Jesus Christ in him. And he didn't have his father speaking to him like this. Paul stepped in because Lois and Eunice came in and was like, hey, look, we need him to go with you so you could teach him these things. We can only bring him so far. We need you to come and take him the rest of the way. And so he began to impart into him. And the main thing he was doing was continue to tell him that he's his son. Give him identity. Remember, constantly give identity. Fathers give identity. All right. Now a father teaches you what is worth fighting for. It says, this charge I commit unto you, son Timothy, according to the prophecies which went before you, that you by them might war a good warfare, holding faith and a good conscience, which some, having put away concerning faith, have made shipwreck. So in these particular things, we see that he's encouraging him and he's teaching him what's worth fighting for. A lot of us want to get on here and we want to fight with the people who say little catty things. We want to say, oh, I can't believe somebody would say that about Jesus. Oh, I can't. Yeah, they don't say it. And they're going to continue to say it. Yes, they're going to do what they want to do. That's not for us to fight. We give a good solid scripture for you to go look at, but we ain't got to fight and do catty stuff back and forth. It ain't about that. We have a mandate in this earth, which is to just give the people Jesus, give them the good news. That's it. Anything extra is extra. We have a mandate. We're training and equipping people to be able to go out and do the same thing that we're doing. If you're not being trained and equipped to go out to do the same exact thing, what is happening? Because you've got to be able to go out and do the same thing. And so it's not like you're going to know it all. The disciples were sent. He had imparted. He showed them how to walk. And then they went out. He sent them out. They didn't have no manual. He told them not even to take an extra coat. Don't even take an extra coat with you. Just go. And it was like, wait a minute. Don't take an extra coat. Don't book no hotel. Just go. They went by faith because they know that they were being sent by Jesus Christ. I'm sure there were some that were like, hold on. I don't think I'm prepared. I don't know about this. That's why a father has to teach you what's worth fighting for, because there were things that were spoken over Timothy already. And he says, this is where he talks about how you have to do warfare with the prophecies, with the things that were spoken over you. There are things that you're going to have to war for. All right. Stuff that's worth warring for. Everything does not take you being irate and all out of sorts and you being so nasty. But sometimes it doesn't take that. A father doesn't have to be so aggressive. A father doesn't have to be so, now, let me put this caveat. Sometimes you need somebody to talk a little stern to you. But it doesn't take that when you are modeling what is needed. When you model it, but if you talk one thing and you're doing another, it's kind of hard for your words to land the way that they need to land. And so he's teaching him because he already told him, hey, look, follow me as I follow Christ. But he also is saying here, let me teach you what's worth fighting for. For the things that you haven't seen come to pass, that's worth fighting for. What's worth fighting for is the legacy to preach this gospel. See, it's one thing to leave an inheritance, because an inheritance you can leave to somebody and that thing might dwindle away and it be gone. But when you leave a legacy, that thing goes on perpetually through your line. Inheritance is for the one person coming behind you, but that legacy precedes you by generations. A father is looking to give you something that's worth fighting for, and your legacy is worth fighting for. What you have not seen is worth fighting for. What was promised to you and you've not seen it is worth fighting for. So whatever it is that I could not complete, baby, I'm speaking and imparting that thing into my children. You will live to see the fullness of the Lord over your life. You cannot pass through this life without seeing the fullness of God in your life. There are things that you have to war for. There are things that are worth warring for. And this is the Father. You have to know there are things that are worth you. Come on here, mama. Yeah. There's certain things that if I haven't seen it in myself, baby, I'm going to make sure that the ones that come after me, they're going to be able to do it. And they're going to be able to run. Where I had to crawl, snot, cry, drag myself, they will run because I crawled already. They will run because I had to walk. If I had to drag my feet, they will run after me. Come on here. That's it. How to be a man of God. Come on here, Mother Chambers. It's just certain things. When you pattern yourself after Jesus Christ, this thing becomes a little easier. Now, some of us, we didn't grow up where our parents had a relationship. They had an identity issue. Okay? They were maybe in church, but the church wasn't in them. So they could only give you what was passed down to them. But we endeavor to do something different because we want relationship without religion. You get it? And so when we are walking that way, you understand what's worth fighting for. You calling me out my name won't move me. Baby, you got to come deeper than that. Because my character is way better than that. A father teaches you what's worth fighting for. Yeah. Me having somebody tell me, oh, you not this, you not that, baby. Okay, maybe not to you. But there are ones that God has sent me to that I am just what they need me to be in this earth for them. My children, I can be just what I need to be for them. It took me a while, stumbling and fumbling. But I'm here now to not only walk the part, not only talk the part, but I walk the part. And so we have to understand that there is another level to this. Tells you what to war for. War for. You got to know what to war for, which brings me to my next point, because we see that when it comes to this fatherhood thing, we see where Joseph was put into this position. And if we look in Matthew chapters 1 and 2, Joseph had to protect the promise. Now, Joseph, when he found out Mary was pregnant, baby, the first thing that hit his mind, it ain't mine. So let me go on and put her away, because these folks ain't finna talk about me. And I'm not finna have nobody that done been out here creeping around. He was finna put her away. The angel of God had to come and tell him, don't put her away. She's carrying, he had to step up and be a father to somebody that he know good and doggone well. I'm looking him in his eyes. He don't look like me. We don't have the same blood. We don't have anything the same, but because by faith, I'm stepping into the position of a father. I step in and I'm protecting the promise. If I can't do anything else, I'm going to protect the promise, because the promise is here. So I can't put her away. So he stepped up and he became the father. He gave Jesus his name. He gave him the gifts that were in his hands, how to be a carpenter. He gave him what he knew to give him. Come on here, Amber. Our ceiling will be our children's ground for. That's it. It has to be. That's just how it has to be. And so Joseph had to know when to uproot his family, to hide the promise and hide them in Egypt. Uproot my family and take them to Egypt, because I gotta hide the promise. See, there's something about somebody who steps up and says, I want to be a father. That's just different. That steps up and takes on the identity of a father, something I may not have had the privilege of knowing, but I'm taking it on, because guess what? My child, the promise needs me. God put them in this earth for a purpose, and I will not drop the baton simply because it don't pump my DNA. I will not drop the baton simply because it ain't got my eyes. I will not drop the baton simply because I didn't have nothing to do with it physically. But God has given him a chance to be a father before he was a father. And he protected the promise. The things that people had to say about Joseph, the things that had to be muttered in the atmosphere about Joseph. Oh, he's a weak man. He's got to be henpecked. He's got to be all these different things. But he was standing on the word of God. Because I know there's some men out there and they like, look at you posting. How you gonna post somebody else's child? You ain't even posting your own. How you gonna do this for somebody else's child? You ain't doing it for your own. I tried to do it for my own and you wouldn't let me. Oh, that's a whole nother subject. But I'm just telling you that there are some men, and it's like, how you gonna do all that for them and not do it for your own? And they doing it for their own, and they doing it for these other ones because they're protecting the promise. And just like Joseph protected the promise, which was Jesus Christ, Paul was protecting Timothy. He was telling Timothy, hey, look, I know there are a lot of naysayers that saying you can't do this, but I'm telling you that you can. I'm telling you that God showed me who you were, and I'm just giving you what God showed me. I know you don't believe it, but keep walking in it. I know you don't trust it, and I know you might not feel it sometimes, but keep walking in it. I know it don't feel good all the time, but keep walking in it. You've got this. Put pushing when the pushing became uncomfortable. Pushing when I don't understand why you keep pushing me. I don't want it. I don't understand it. It's not in me. I don't feel like this is for me. Keep pushing. That's what the Father does. He protects the promise because he sees further than what you can see. And he's placed people along the path to tell you, you've got this. He's placed people along the path to remind you of your identity when you can't see it in yourself. Now, let's get over here because we're going to talk about God real quick. And I'm closing out because I don't have anything else, but I wrote a couple of notes down here before there was even any way, shape, form, or fashion of a fall. Jesus was not our plan B. He was not our plan B. But if you go back to Genesis 3:15, and it's not in the notes here, I jotted them down quickly. This ain't something you got to go to, but you can go and jot it on your notes. And I wrote it down quickly that when sin entered the garden, in Genesis 3:15, God began to pronounce judgment. But as he pronounced a judgment, the Father was pronouncing provision. He was pronouncing a redemption would come because it was talking about how he was going to put enmity between thee and the woman and how her seed was going to crush his head, but his head was going to bruise the heel. So there was not only judgment being spoken, but from the very beginning, redemption was being spoken at the same time because that's a father. I've got to punish you, but at the same time, I'm going to give you a way of escape. At the same time, I believe in you so much so that I'm going to speak a blessing over you at the same time. And then it goes on, and I put down here that God fought for what sin tried to steal, because even in the whole of the Bible, I begin to remember some things because he begins a real father. And I'm telling you, this is what a father does, because I know him as my father. I know him that even in my piece of being lost, he was still fighting for me. But all throughout the Bible, we see him put little pieces here and there for the people. He spoke that redemption. He covered Adam and Eve with the leather, because they only had fig leaves. And he took the fig leaves and he covered them. He slaughtered an animal and took their skin and he covered them. He covered their sin. He covered what they considered sin. In the midst of sin, he was still there covering. He took and he preserved life with the ark. And Noah, he took and he put a ram in the thicket for Isaac when Isaac was getting ready to be sacrificed. He always had provision throughout the Bible. There was always provision. It always pointed to more. To even when he began to speak through the prophets, and the prophets were beginning to prophesy of how that there was one coming that was great, how there was one coming that would redeem all. He began to speak all throughout the Bible. You see where God was doing what he knows to do as the Father. And then he so loved the world that he gave. John 3:16. In John 3:16, it talks about how he loved the world so much so that he gave his only begotten son. Jesus came on the scene and he began to say things like, I lay down my life for the sheep. No one can take my life, but I give it up. I lay it down. He began to say these things. And as he began to do that, that was him giving us the understanding that I was fighting for you before you knew I was fighting for you. He says, I'm married to the backslider. Not even only that, but he comes for us. He's a good father. Because when we were yet sinners, oh my God, he was still fighting for us. Before we came to him, he had already fought for us. That's that pull and that nudge that you get. Hey, don't do that. Hey, don't go down that road, but you went anyway. He was that pull and that tug that tried to tell you right from wrong and you just wasn't listening. He is that one that tries to tell you, hey, this ain't that. He tells you all throughout your sinful life that you're better than this, but you can't see past what you've been taught. You can't see past what you've been fed. You've been fed things by the television. You've been fed things by what you've seen. You've been fed things by what you've heard. You've been fed things by what you felt in this flesh. And all along, he's been telling you that you're worth fighting for. He's been telling you all along that this work on the cross is going to change your life. Because he thought that we were worth fighting for so much that he took his place on the cross. He took it. He shed his blood, a blood that didn't have any sin in it. He walked this life as a father. He sent his one and only begotten son. Because he knew that Angela, because I can't say anything about any of you, but he knew Angela wasn't going to be strong enough for this flesh. He knew that Angela was going to succumb to the pressure of the flesh. He knew Angela was going to fall short in every aspect of her life simply because she longed for the Father. Didn't know what she was longing for, but she longed for the Father. But when she met the Father, he began to pour. And as he begins to pour, he pours what's needed. He begins to pour the fuel that she needs to go. The fuel that she needs to not stop, because I didn't put stop in you, Angela. You better keep going because I didn't put anything in you that but go. There's a drive that I have when people say, do you ever rest? You don't sleep? You don't rest? It's not me. I am in this thing by the grace of God. I'm still here. I tell my kids all the time, I said, look, you got to learn how to do this by yourself because I ain't always going to be here. They thought something was happening to me. The only thing I knew is that at any moment in time, when God decides that my time here is up, I want to have imparted something into my children that will get them to understand that God is real. So they've seen me at my worst, but they ain't seen me at my best. Yeah, because God is yet still perfecting me day by day. They've not seen me at my best just yet. And I pray that you fathers out there, if today is the first day you can start doing things differently, start doing things differently. Start speaking life into your children. Start showing them what's worth fighting for. Everything is not an argument. Everything is not a dissertation. Everything is not something to be argued over. Some things, you take it on the chin and you keep going. Yeah, they might have some choice words for you because maybe you weren't there in the beginning, but you can't give them something you never had. So you were given the best you possibly knew. And what you didn't know, you tried. Nothing beats failure but a try. So today, try again. Today, try again. Because as a father, what does the title say? Wherever you see it at, fight for what comes after you. What comes after you is what's going to solidify your life. So I encourage the fathers today, fight the good fight of faith. show your children, those who are in the position of a father, those that have the ability to influence somebody to do something by the way that you live your life as you run after Christ, tell them to run after you. The moment they don't see you running after Christ, tell them don't follow me no more. Don't look to me. You keep following after Christ. But yeah, I need you to just step up. I need you to impart even the spiritual DNA into somebody. You see them, you see they're promising, eager young people. This is why they have those programs, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. They have these programs. They even have a program for grandparents to just be grandparents, for older people to be grandparents to younger children, because they need that wisdom imparted in them. They're programmed. The world knows that these things are necessary. So why don't we know it? I've seen the church fail so many young people. But God has never failed us, and he never will. So as we are pointing back to God, all right, as we go along and we're pointing back to God, they can't fail. But if the only thing we're pointing at is how to do this, how to do that, we are a good instructor. Blessings to you, Mother Chambers. Thank you for coming out. And we failed. We failed. If the only thing we can direct them in and give them instruction and give them rules and regulations without walking out the pattern, we've already failed. But look here. I pray something was said that will affect you in a different way. I pray that as we study this series, Old Timothy, that you get something out of it, because the Father wants to speak. And he's speaking through these letters, through Paul to Timothy, to all of us. Just developing us in such a way that we need this encouragement to go to the next. All right? Hey there, Tashira. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in. A father's work is never done. Just like a mother. It's never done. You just keep moving, keep pressing, keep doing. It's going to pay off. Because what comes after you, your legacy is what matters. Your inheritance, it could hit or miss. They could take that and it'll be gone in no time. They could sell off all the property that you worked so hard for. They could sell off the business. They could sell off everything. But when you leave a legacy is teaching them how to stand on their own 2 feet, how to build for themselves and what comes after them. Yeah, that's a whole nother level. So look, I pray something was said that will move you to your next. I pray something was said that is going to just encourage you. All right. Look, if you have not already, you need to get connected with Remnant Mentality Ministries. Let's get those hearts going. Let us like the video. Go ahead, like the video now. And you know it's time to sow, right? Let's sow in a share. Yeah. Let's share this with somebody, at least one other person. All right, let's share this broadcast with at least one other person. Somebody needs to hear this to be encouraged. And that's what Remnant Mentality Ministries is here for. We are here encouraging the saints, empowering the saints, equipping the saints, and educating them all at the same time. Look, this is what God has put us in this earth to do, and we are doing it now. You don't want to miss anything that we're doing. So go ahead and get connected however you can get connected. And look here. Don't forget, we're live every single day. You don't want to miss it. My name is Angela Hendricks. I'm live here on Sundays between 2:30 and 3. I hit that go live button. So rather you're seeing me on one of the multitude of the platforms that we are live from right now, it doesn't matter. Come back, see us again. Make sure you turn on your notifications. Until next time, bye.